Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice of radio. So today, it's time to have a little bit of a look at Vikavolt. And you might be thinking, hang on a second, Wassy. Didn't we look at Vikavolt the other day? Well, yes, we did. But I showed you a deck which was entirely made up of the new Vikavolt that is going to be coming out in Unbroken Bonds. And I told you that it didn't play any of the Vikavolt GX. Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, we now have a deck which revolves entirely around the Vikavolt GX. So I think it's about time we had a little bit of a look at it. This was shared with me by the lovely David Hockman. We know David by now, not just a translating man, though it was tweeted out by at Rouse_V_P. And this was essentially a deck that went and won a tournament over in Tokyo. So we ain't talking no random deck list here, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about a deck that won at a rather competitive tournament. So it all revolves around Vikavolt GX. Vikavolt GX has some rather nice attacks. First attack for 1 energy does 50 damage and attach an energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Really not a fan. It's too slow. It's not doing enough. But I do like the other attacks. 1 lightning free colorless, 180 damage, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. And then for the same cost, GX attack, 60 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Now, at this stage of the video, we can't really go any further without me reminding you about the new Charjabug, which is, in every sense of the word, broken. You see, the new Charjabug allows you to attach it from your hand to a Vikavolt or Vikavolt GX as a double lightning energy. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It becomes a special energy card which provides 2 lightning energy and you attach it from your hand. Bearing in mind, right, you're already going to be playing Charjabug to try and evolve into Vikavolt. Although, incidentally, you do not want to actually use this to evolve into Vikavolt. You want to attach it from your hand. Because you know what's the dumbest thing about Charjabug? The most broken thing about Charjabug is the fact that it doesn't count as your energy attachment for the turn. So you can go ahead and attach 2 Charjabug and a double colorless energy in the same turn. Now, this is one of the things that makes Vikavolt GX better than the regular Vikavolt. Now, the regular Vikavolt has an attack that for 3 lightning, 1 colorless does 120, but you can discard all the lightning and do 220. Now, 220 damage is more than 180, and it's on a single prize Pokemon rather than a 2 prize Pokemon. And the ability says that if you've got a stadium in play, you have no weakness. So make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. Generally speaking, the other Vikavolt's attack is strictly better. But the thing is, Vikavolt GX only discards 2 energy, rather than all the lightning. So Vikavolt, you need to get 2 Charjabug on in 1 turn, or you need to get a lightning energy on at some point, and then attach a Charjabug and a lightning energy, and it can be a bit awkward. Vikavolt GX, all you need to do is attach either 2 Charjabug or 1 Charjabug, 1 double colorless energy, which is absolutely possible. Remember, Charjabug does not count as your attachment for the turn. And this is what is kind of over the top silly about Vikavolt here. It's redonk. And look, if you're hitting for 180, don't forget you've got Electro Power to do an extra 30 damage, so you're getting a straight 1-hit KO on something like Rayquaza or Blacephalon. Straight away you're getting a KO on them. Once you add a Choice Band, then you're getting a KO on something like Buzzwole or Lycanroc, which will be your 2 biggest issues here. And of course, Zoroark. And remember, when I say Choice Band, I actually mean Choice Band or Electro Power. You can play either here. And we need to take a second to talk about the GX attack. 60 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. There is a situation where going first, this is absolutely devastating. Because let's say you're against a Zoroark that's playing 60 HP Zorua, or a Gardevoir that's saying 60 HP Ralts, or indeed any deck that's playing 60 HP Pokemon. Remember that Professor Elm's lecture is now incentivizing people to go 60 HP, because it can search for a 60 HP basic but not a 70 HP basic. Well, if you go first, your opponent benches their basics, but does not get a chance to evolve them because you can't evolve on the first turn. Then on your second turn, your opponent hasn't evolved, so you get a Vikavolt out, and then you just go double colorless Charjabug, and you do 60 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, KOing all of their evolving basics. Remember that Ditto Prism Star, which your opponent is likely to be playing in a lot of decks, to be honest, yeah, that's got less than 60 HP. And it doesn't need to be straight away. You basically say to your opponent, if you go first, you're basically saying to your opponent, yeah, anytime you bench more than 160 HP basic, I am going to use my GX attack. That is terrifying for your opponent, because they know that any turn they have more than 160 HP basic, you are going to take them all out. And it's amazing for you, because any turn they have more than 160 HP basic, you are going to take them all out. That is essentially why we play Vikavolt GX here. You're doing enough with the main attack, but really the reasons you're playing the GX are for the GX attack, and the fact that it's easier to get it charged up, because you need either a Charjabug and a DCE, or two Charjabug, and you only need to replace one of those every turn, whereas with the other Vikavolt, you need two Charjabug, and you need to replace both of them every turn. In terms of other Pokemon here, we do play Tapu Lele to help you get a supporter card if you need it, and we also play 2 copies of Dedenne GX, mostly for the Redonkulous ability, which says that you can discard your hand and draw 6 cards. It does have a GX attack that does 50 damage plus paralysis and puts it in your hand ready to reuse, but against any evolution deck, it's just too good having Vikavolt GX's GX attack. Similarly, we see a couple of Tapu Koko. We see one with Flying Flip. It's got free retreat. The spreading damage is quite nice. Remember, you're playing double colorless energy, so you should be able to get Flying Flip. If you go second, you ain't getting a turn 1 Vikavolt here, so being able to use Flying Flip to spread some damage is really, really nice. Plus, if you're against 70 HP basics, then 1 Flying Flip, and then you use your GX attack, and you take them all down. Although if you're doing that, your opponent will have a turn to evolve, which is somewhat upsetting. There's also a Tapu Koko GX here. Now, Tapu Koko GX is nice because it doesn't have a weakness, whereas your Vikavolt does. And it's got a nice ability that lets you move lightning energy onto it and move it into the active. And yes, that will include Charjabug, because as soon as Charjabug is attached, it counts as lightning energy. And then you can either do 130 for free energy, or you can do 50 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. Generally speaking, Vikavolt GX's GX attack is borderline broken, but if you want one big KO here, this can help you out massively. Also, it's nice to just be able to hit for 130 sometimes. Especially against something like Baby Buzz Haynick, because they can one-hit KO you, but they really struggle to one-hit KO a Tapu Koko. To be fair, they can do it with Diancie and a Choice Band, but that's a little bit more awkward. So, oh yeah, and there's a Marshadow. 1 copy of Marshadow, just to give your opponent a new hand of 4, just give a little bit of disruption here. In terms of energy, we're playing 4 double colorless and free lightning. We're just not that worried about lightning here, because you've got Charjabug, and Charjabug is what's crucial in this deck. Yeah, it's nice to be able to put a couple lightning here and there, but honestly, it's just really nice to be able to use Charjabug and DCE. They are your priorities here. Now, in terms of the trainer line, obviously we see a Thunder Mountain. Thunder Mountain's really nice, because it then brings your attack cost down to a Charjabug and a lightning energy, giving you one more chance to get this going really nice and easily. And we have mentioned Electro Power, which is somewhat important. In terms of other lightning-specific cards here, we see 3 copies of Volkner. Volkner is great here. Firstly, it lets you search for an item card, which will often be rare candy, but could also be electro power. But the other thing that's great here is that it lets you search for a lightning energy, and you're only playing 3, so finding them's going to be important. But the other lightning-specific card, which is going to be very, very useful with Volkner, is Electromagnetic Radar. This is a great little card which lets you search out all of your lightning GXs, bearing in mind that's your Vikavolt and your Tapu Koko. Discard 2 cards from your hand, search your deck for 2 lightning EXs or GXs. It's kind of like Ultra Ball, except you get 2 Pokemon, but they've got to be lightning EXs or GXs. Speaking of which, we do fairly obviously play 4 copies of Ultra Ball here because we need to get our Pokemon, and there's 1 copy of Nest Ball to get your basics here, just to give a little bit of extra consistency. There are a full 3 copies of Rescue Stretcher. I say full, they could play a 4th, I suppose. This ain't Transformers, and the reason here is very simple. Although Charge Bug is an energy card when attached, when it's in the discard, it's a Pokemon, which makes it super easy to recover. And you can search it out with Ultra Ball. You know what? You can also search it out with Pokemon Communication. There is 1 copy of Pokemon Communication here, which lets you swap a Pokemon in your hand for a Pokemon in your deck. Bit more consistency. Couple copies of Choice Band for the extra damage, and 1 copy of Field Blower to get rid of tools and non-Prism Star stadiums. In terms of the supporter line here, we've already mentioned Volkner. We play 2 copies of Guzma to drag Pokemon off the bench to KO them, but also it acts as a switching card. And then in terms of consistency, 4 copies of Lily, it's a great draw card. 2 copies of Cynthia, it's a great draw card. We go Lily over Cynthia here because you need to get your rare candy and your stage 2. So pure draw is generally better. Empty out your hand a bit, keep the rare candy, dig for the stage 2 or the item that will search for it. And then 1 copy of Erica's Hospitality, which tends to see play in a whole bunch of decks. And again, it's straight draw, not shuffle draw, which is going to help you in terms of getting the rare candy and the stage 2 in hand at the same time. I adore this deck, ladies and gentlemen. At first glance, I thought, I'd rather have the other Vikavolt, it's a non-GX. But the fact that it's so much easier to get it rolling because of double colorless energy, and the fact that you've got the GX attack, which is brutal against evolving decks, it is just really good. And I think these Vikavolt decks could be a winner when Unbroken Bonds comes out and is legal for tournament play, which is annoyingly the weekend after I go to Bristol Regionals, so cheers for that. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to know what you think about Vikavolt. So do please let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! But please do remember the most important rule as always. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk Transformers and Keyforge and all that fun stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.